All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis, who just had his press conference for the fight with Hector Garcia, and a lot of very revealing information came out in that particular press conference. But shockingly, the man walked in there with a black eye and no Floyd Mayweather Jr. But let's talk about that and the other stuff that came out in this video. All right, welcome back. Man, we are about to get some fights, man, and I'm about to go ahead and buy my tickets to this fight with Gervonta Tank Davis and Hector Garcia taking place January 7th in DC. Just had a press conference with a lot of really interesting information came out. First and foremost, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your continued support. This particular video, I'm gonna say what's up to my man Reef the Watcher. Been a subscriber of yours, and you've been a subscriber of mine for a very long time, man. It is always very, very nice to see you in the comment section. And I want to say thank you to everybody else, all of the other supporters that really do support in the super chat and the Cash App. Really does mean a lot, man. It allows the channel to keep going. And also the people that support in the super thanks of videos like this, which you can see in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Thank you for your support. And if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you can know of when we drop more videos, which we do pretty much on a daily basis in the video and live stream format. But let's get into this. Gervonta Tank Davis, the WBA regular 135-pound champion and one of the biggest draws in boxing, just had a press conference announcing his fight with Hector Garcia, and some real interesting things took place there. I'm going to talk about the two most noticeable things that happened was, one, Gervonta Davis walked in with a black eye, man. Right underneath the lower right hand, man, he had a big old mark there. Clearly this dude is in the midst of sparring and is really trying to put a lot of work in ahead of this fight with Hector Garcia. If you're not familiar with Hector Garcia, man, Hector Garcia is a very good fighter. Kind of jumped out from where a lot of people didn't know him by as a 10, I think he was a 10-1 underdog or something like that, even more so in according to some books, according to Steven Espinoza, when he beat Chris Colbert, and then he came back after beating Chris Colbert to beat Gutierrez for the WBA super belt. Seems like he's a very good fighter, Dominican fighter, undefeated. I think he's like 16-0 with 11 knockouts. So clearly, Gervonta Davis is really taking him serious and preparing for him right now. I'm not going to go out there to say there's something majorly wrong going on with him because he got hit in the eye. It's boxing. And on top of it, Gervonta Davis is a bit what I would call, melanin depleted. So he doesn't have the most color in the world. So when you're that kind of yellow or that doesn't have a lot of color, those type of marks are going to show and look very, very vivid on your skin, where other people may have it and it may not be as noticeable. But that was the first thing that I think a lot of people noticed coming into the press conference. And then the other thing was, and this is something that was alluded to by his trainer, Calvin Ford. Shout out to Calvin Ford. Shout out to the Rise Podcast. Make sure you guys go subscribe over there. They're on that channel on a regular basis. There was no Floyd Mayweather Jr. There was no Leonard Ellerbe there at the event at all. Now, that is a big thing because over the last year or so, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not Gervonta Davis was his own boss and whether or not, he was in the Floyd Mayweather Jr. protection program and all of that, right? And from the appearance of this particular event, doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like they're not involved in the fight on a day-by-day promotional basis. Now, Gervonta did say something that made me think when someone asked him a question in the press conference about why he didn't just skip the Hector Garcia fight and go straight to Ryan Garcia, right? Obviously, Hector Garcia is a very tough fighter, or a guy that is, very confident and looks like, he's a real threat to Gervonta Davis going into this fight. And why he took that and just didn't wait for the Ryan Garcia fight. And Gervonta Davis said, well, look, man, pretty much, we had to take the fight. He said, it was basically like, man, and I like dudes when they're there. I like cats when they're honest. Was like, didn't say anything like, we just wanted to, he's a great champion. We wanted to do this fight. He's like, nah, pretty much I had to, which made me believe, or made me suspect that maybe that was a fight that was getting pushed by Floyd Mayweather Jr. And this may be the last fight where he actually has that, some type of a relationship with him. But that's me just, that's just me just trying to read into what he's saying. However, there was some reason that he needed to fight Hector Garcia and couldn't just go over to Ryan Garcia. It could also be that they had came to an agreement with Hector Garcia beforehand or not. Can't really to say. Oh, also, it could have something to do with a certain court case coming up over the next couple weeks. But hey, man, who knows? Don't want to guess on that one. However, Gervonta Davis said he's taking this dude very, very seriously, and said, look, man, I watch all my opponents. So he said he knows what he said he watches Hector Garcia a lot, looks for his tendencies, knows what kind of fighter he is. And he also says, man, I know what you're doing in sparring too. So it's not just that I know what you do in the ring. I also know what you're training and what you're doing in training. So, basically saying, look, man, I'm not letting this, he talked about early in his career when he was coming up, and there was a lot of, other prospects that were coming up with him that were with the PBC that were getting knocked off because they jumped out there and they didn't really prepare, or they overlooked the person that they were fighting. And he said, look, man, that's not going to be me. I take everybody that I fight as a threat. Now, the other thing that about this card I have to say, and this is the reason why more than likely, I'm about 85% there that I'm going to go ahead and get on that plane, spend the money to get on the plane and go to DC, is because that fight card is absolutely positively stacked. Okay, that is a stacked pay-per-view where you have Jalil Hackett, you have Anthony Peterson, you have, and this is the big surprise for me, you actually have, I couldn't believe it, man. You actually have Demetrius Andrade on the card. I'm going to do a whole separate video about that, man. But you got Demetrius Andrade on the card. You've got Jaron Ennis and Speedy Rashidi Ellis on the card. And you've got Gervonta Davis on the card. Come on, man. That is a bunch of fighters that I want to see in a row. There's almost no way I'm not going to enjoy I would not enjoy that entire fight card, man. That is going to be, now, if I don't go, most definitely I'm going to buy the pay-per-view, because you cannot tell me that type of card is not worth that money. So I am definitely going to be checking it out. Definitely looking forward to that. And, I hope that if Gervonta Davis is going to consistently, be his own promoter, that he makes more fight cards like that, man. That card, I don't see how that card cannot do extremely, extremely well in DC. And I'm sure it's probably going to be at the same stadium that either the Washington Wizards play at, something like that, to get those people in there, man. It should be an absolutely terrific fight card. Looking forward to it. Also, again, very, very interesting to see that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was not there. I'm still, as far as the fight with Hector Garcia, though, I would not be telling the truth if I said I was not nervous about that fight. I'm nervous about the fight. That kid is a very, very good fighter, man, an Olympic fighter. Doesn't have the most power in the world, right? So he's not knocking dudes out. He did knock down Chris Colbert a couple times, but, also when I saw them stand up next to each other, Hector Garcia is really not that much bigger than Gervonta Davis. He probably has a couple inches reach on him and a couple inches of height, but nothing like what Gervonta Davis had to deal with like, a Mario Barrios or anything like that. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comments section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.